Hello friends, I welcome you all for this session of heat transfer. Today we shall discuss a new topic called as heat exchangers. As you already know, we have seen so many applications in engineering field where these heat exchangers have been used. To give some examples, now we have already studied something called as power plant. If you remember, in a power plant, now we have a component like a boiler, as well as we also have a component called as condenser. Along with that, along with the condenser, we also used something like a cooling tower. So if you look at these three components, like as I told, boiler, condenser and cooling tower, if you look at their working principle, where the exchange of energy or heat transfer occurs between either a fluid and a surface or between two fluids. Okay, I mean to say, if you take an example of a boiler, the exchange of heat occurs between the burnt gases and the water, so that water gets converted into steam. If you think of a condenser, in the condenser, the steam coming from the turbine will get condensed with respect to the cooling water. So thereby the steam converts into a liquid and the cooling water will be converted into a warm water. Similarly, if you think of a cooling tower, the warm water which is produced in a condenser will go to the cooling tower, and inside the cooling tower the air will be circulated such that the heat gets transferred between the warm water and the air. Okay, in these three examples you can see that one or the other way the two fluids having different temperatures will get exchanged with their energies. So the devices or the units where this phenomenon of heat exchange occurs between the two fluids, such devices are called as heat exchangers. To give some more examples, now in the boiler itself again we have got so many auxiliary components being installed within the boiler drum, like economizer, superheaters, reheaters. Okay, so these all are again, they are the heat exchangers, basically involving the exchange of energy between the gases and the different stages of water. In the economizer, heat gets exchanged with the burnt gas to the water. In the superheater, heat gets exchanged between the burnt gas and the dry steam. And in the reheater, heat gets exchanged between again the burnt gas and the steam. So like this, if you think of an example again of an IC engine, all of us ride automobiles. In particular, when you think of a four-wheeler, like a car, like a truck, bus, anything as such, okay, we come across a typical system in the automobile called as cooling system, where we use a component called as a radiator. So radiator is again a best example for a heat exchanger, where the engine which is getting warmed up because of its continuous operation, that needs to be cooled. So to do that, we are going to use a coolant which is initially available in the radiator, that will be circulated across the engine block, and it will get the heat from the engine, and it will come back to the radiator, where inside the radiator tube it gets further cooled by the air from the atmosphere. So heat exchange occurs between the radiator coolant and the atmospheric air. Okay, so that is an example of heat exchanger in the automobile. Similarly, if you think of a refrigerator or an air conditioner, again we find two important components called as evaporators and condensers. So evaporator, as the name says, okay, the refrigerant is made to flow into the evaporator coil, which is at lower temperature, and the substance which needs to be cooled or the fluid which needs to be cooled will flow around the tube, such that they will again exchange the energy. So this is an example again for the heat exchanger. And condenser, as usual, as discussed earlier in the power plant example, the condensation of the refrigerant occurs with the help of atmospheric air. So like this, there are so many examples you can quote, okay, with respect to heat exchangers. Take one more example. Human body itself can be considered as a heat exchanger, where the blood which circulates within the veins or arteries of a human body acts as one fluid, and the air surrounding our human body, the body of a human, will act as a one more fluid. So always the exchange of energy occurs between the blood and the human body. Blood and the atmospheric air, depending on their temperature gradient. So it's a natural phenomenon that keeps on occurring always. Okay, so the devices where this heat exchange occurs, okay, are generally termed as heat exchangers. I hope these examples are clear to understand what exactly is a heat exchanger. Now let us quickly move on to the next topic called as classification of heat exchanger. Okay. So in general, all of these heat exchangers, what I have discussed earlier, can be broadly classified based on various factors. So let us list out the various classifications of the heat exchangers. Meanwhile, we shall also try to get some examples. Now the first classification of heat exchanger can be based on the type of contact, between the two fluids. We can have heat exchangers like direct contact type, second one indirect contact type. So based on how they will exchange the energy, you can say whether by direct contacting with each other or by indirect contact. We can have class heat exchangers as direct contact type heat exchangers and indirect contact type of heat exchangers. When I say direct contact type of heat exchanger, the two fluids which exchange the heat, they will get directly mixed with each other in a chamber or in a container, such that they will exchange the energy. So they are called as direct contact type heat exchanger. Whereas indirect contact type heat exchangers are the one where the two fluids which exchange the energy, they will flow either simultaneously or continuously through a different channels separated by a wall. Thereby they exchange the energy across the wall, where they will never come in contact directly, but heat transfer occurs between them. So such type of heat exchangers are called as indirect contact type of heat exchanger. So the example for a direct contact type of heat exchanger is a cooling tower, which I discussed before, where the warm water coming from the condenser will directly get mixed with the atmospheric air inside the cooling tower, thereby exchanging the energy occurs. So it's a best example for cooling tower. Whereas for indirect contact type of heat exchangers, you can consider as an example of a radiator or a superheater or a reheater. Any example, all of these are generally they are indirect contact type of heat exchangers. Okay, now second classification based on the nature of heat transfer. Based on the nature of heat transfer, we can classify all the heat exchangers into two more types. One is called as recuperators. Second one is called as regenerators. So I repeat again, the second classification is based on the nature of heat transfer. We can classify them into recuperators and regenerators. Now let us understand what are the recuperators. Recuperators, they are the heat exchangers in which the two fluids which are supposed to exchange the energy, they will be flowing simultaneously. Okay, across a separating wall such that they exchange the energy. Take for example, let us say this is a wall. Okay, on this side of the wall the hot fluid flows. On the other side of the wall the cold fluid flows. Note that they are simultaneously flowing but separated by this wall. So this is a wall. So because it is at a temperature, hot fluid is at temperature T1, say higher temperature, cold fluid is at temperature T2, because of their temperature gradient, across this wall heat transfer occurs. So heat flows like this across the wall from hot fluid to the cold fluid. So such type of units where this kind of heat transfer occurs are called as recuperators. Here the thing to be noted is the two fluids which flows in the recuperators, they are not coming in direct contact. Hence recuperators are in general they are indirect contact type of heat exchangers. So whatever the example I quoted for indirect contact type of heat exchangers are also the examples of recuperators. I hope this is clear. Now moving on, let us think about the regenerators. So the regenerators are the heat exchangers where the two fluids which exchange the energy are made to flow alternatively. I repeat again, the two fluids which are supposed to exchange the energy are made to flow alternatively, thereby over a surface such that they exchange the energy. Let me explain again with an example. Okay, so let me consider a material matrix like this. Okay, I'll consider a material matrix which is a good conductor of heat. Okay, so what I do is this surface I will insulate it for this material, and over this top surface initially I will make the hot fluid to flow. Okay, please pay attention. So there is a surface or a material, it's a matrix material, okay, over which initially I'll make the hot fluid to flow. So whenever the fluid flows over this surface, since the fluid is hot in comparison with the matrix material, so by convection the exchange of heat occurs from the hot fluid to the surface. So thereby the fluid gets cold and the surface becomes hot. Now imagine as all the hot fluid flows away, the surface is becoming now very hot. So next what I do is, now I will make the cold fluid. After passing over the hot fluid, now I will make the entry of the cold fluid over the same surface which became hot in the previous case. So now again you can see there is a matrix, but it is now acting as a hot surface. So whenever there is an exchange, there is a contact between hot and a cold surface, or hot surface and a cold fluid, so exchange of energy occurs. So now the hot surface loses the energy to the cold fluid, thereby fluid becomes hot and the surface gets cooled. So altogether, if you look in this example, finally the energy exchange between hot fluid to the cold fluid via this matrix material. And it is done in such a way that hot fluid was initially made to flow over the matrix material. Then later the cold fluid was made to flow over the matrix material. This way the exchange of energy occurred. And since the fluids are made to flow alternatively over the same surface, heat exchange occurred. So such type of devices, okay, are called as the regenerators. So heat gets regenerated from the surface to the cold fluid as it flows over the surface. Again note that the two fluids which exchange the energy in the regenerators, they will never come in contact directly. Hence, the regenerators are also indirect contact type of heat exchangers. Okay. Now, let us move on to the third set of classification. Based on the type of flow, or the direction of flow of the fluids, based on the direction of flow of fluids, all the heat exchangers are further classified into parallel flow heat exchangers, second one counter flow heat exchangers, and the third one cross flow heat exchangers. I repeat, based on the direction of the flow of fluids, please understand in what direction they are flowing, the two fluids, okay, in the heat exchanger. Based on that, we can have three types of heat exchangers. First one is called as parallel flow heat exchanger, second one is called as counter flow heat exchanger, and the third one is called as cross flow heat exchanger. Now let us understand what exactly they mean by. Parallel flow heat exchanger is one where the two fluids in the heat exchanger flow in the same direction. I repeat, in the parallel flow heat exchanger, the two fluids which flow, they will be flowing in the same direction from the inlet to the outlet of a heat exchanger. So they are called as parallel flow heat exchanger. Okay. Let me explain the same thing by the small block diagram. So let me take a heat exchanger like this. Okay. It's a simple sketch to understand a heat exchanger. We call this heat exchanger as based on its construction, we call it as a double pipe heat exchanger. So here you can see there are two pipes. I am showing you a cut sectional view. They are concentric pipes, one inside the other. Okay, so inside the tube I will make the fluid to flow, which is a hot fluid. So hot fluid, let us say it is flowing like this from this end to the other end. So hot fluid goes out. Now surrounding this inner tube, I will also make the flow of cold fluid. The flow of cold fluid, which is also flows in the same direction, and it will move finally like this. So hot fluid is moving like this in the tube, and cold fluid is also moving around the tube in the same direction. So since both of them flow in the same direction, so that type of heat exchanger is called as parallel flow heat exchanger. Okay. Next, counter flow heat exchanger. Now, if the two fluids which are flowing inside the heat exchanger, if they flow in opposite direction, they are called as counter flow heat exchangers. Now let me take the same example. Okay, so what I'll do is I will now keep the direction of the hot fluid as same, but I will change the direction of cold fluid. What I do is I'll make the cold fluid to enter from this end, and it will flow like this. It will flow in this direction, again around the tube. Now you see in this example, the hot fluid is flowing like this, say from this end to the other end, and the cold fluid is flowing in the opposite direction with respect to hot fluid. You can see here, because they are flowing in the opposite direction, this type of heat exchanger is now called as counter flow heat exchanger. Okay. Then the third type of heat exchanger called as cross flow heat exchanger. So this is one more typical heat exchanger where the two fluids which flow in the heat exchanger, now if they flow in a such way that they are flowing in perpendicular to each other. Take for example in this direction. You can see this. If the cold fluid flows like this, okay, say it is moving downwards, and if the hot fluid flows in the horizontal direction in such a way, they make an angle of 90 degree. Means in this type of heat exchangers, the two fluids flows perpendicular to each other in the heat exchanger. Whatever may be the direction, you can show the direction like this also. The hot fluid may flow like this, and the cold fluid may flow in the upper direction. But note that they are making 90 degree with respect to each other, thereby exchanging the energy. So they are called as cross flow heat exchangers. Okay, so these are the three different types of heat exchangers based on what is the direction of flow of fluids. Okay, very important classification it is. Okay, now the last set of classification, that is based on the design and construction. Based on the design and construction of the heat exchanger, we can classify all the heat exchanger into, first one, double pipe, which is also called as concentric tube heat exchanger. Okay, second one is called as shell and tube heat exchanger. Okay, so based on the design of a heat exchanger and depending on that how we construct the heat exchanger, we can classify all the heat exchanger into two important types. One is called as double pipe, which is also referred as concentric tube heat exchanger, and the second one is called as shell and tube heat exchanger. When I was discussing the previous classifications, the third classification, I had given you an example, the diagram of a heat exchanger. Specifically, it was like this. So there is a pipe. Assume like there is a pipe. Inside this pipe, there is a fluid flowing like this, and surrounding this pipe, there will be one more pipe like this. Okay, it is like this. Can you understand this? So you can see here there are two pipes. So this is the inner pipe, and this is a surrounding that is an annulus pipe or an outer pipe. They are arranged in such a way, or they are designed and constructed in such a way, the two pipes, their center of axis will be same. So since there are two pipes and they are concentric with each other, so the heat exchangers are called as double pipe or concentric tube type of heat exchanger. This is first type of classification. Now the second one, we call it as shell and tube heat exchanger. As the name itself says, we will be in this type of heat exchanger, we will be having a container called as a shell like this. It might be a cylindrical, spherical, or any other shape depending on the design. It's a hollow shell. So into the shell, what we will be having is, we'll be having a series of tubes like this. Like this. So there will be an inlet somewhere here, and there will be an outlet somewhere here. Okay. Say, so inlet will be here and outlet will be here. Fine. So what happens is, in this category of heat exchanger, okay, so there is a shell, hollow shell, into which there are tubes, hollow tubes. So what happens is, we are going to make hot fluid to flow into the tubes of this heat exchanger, and we will make the cold fluid to flow in the shell of the heat exchanger. I hope you understand this. I repeat again. So the hot fluid is made to flow inside the tubes of a heat exchanger, whereas the cold fluid is made to flow in the shell of the heat exchanger, which consists the tubes. Thereby they exchange the energy. So such type of heat exchangers are called as shell and tube type of heat exchangers. If the heat exchange has to be at a higher capacity, then we generally prefer the shell and tube heat exchangers. Maybe in the example of power plant, okay, or the example of a IC engine, radiator, so or a superheater or like that, we will, since the amount of heat to be transferred is more and more, we come across the usage of shell and tube heat exchanger. On the other way, if the heat to be transferred, if it is of lesser quantity, then we generally prefer double pipe heat exchangers. Note that the design, construction and the analysis of double pipe heat exchanger is comparatively easier than the shell and tube heat exchangers. So the calculations involved in shell and tube heat exchangers design are much more complex than that of the double pipe heat exchanger. Therefore, in our syllabus, we shall restrict ourselves to understand the analysis of only the double pipe heat exchanger. Okay, so henceforth, whatever the analysis we do with respect to this topic of heat exchanger, we shall always consider the double pipe heat exchanger only. Okay, so that's it for the classifications of heat exchangers. So we can have some more types of classifications, but we find these as a main 4 important classifications. according to which all the heat exchangers can be classified. So in my next session, I will be starting with the analysis of a heat exchanger. What are the methods of analysis we shall discuss. Specifically, I am going to start with the discussion on LMTD method of analysis for a given heat exchanger. Thank you.